Today I am going to discuss an action-adventure movie called Uncharted that is based on the video game series of the same name. If you enjoy death-defying action fight scenes and an Indiana Jones spirit of curiosity, stick around to find out more about this movie. Our protagonist is Nathan Drake, a young man in his early 20s, who grew up in an orphanage with his older brother after their parents passed. Nathan learned how to be independent at an early age after his older brother Sam ran away from the orphanage after trying to steal a valuable ancient map from the library. Sam told him he would always come back for him, but after 15 years, Nathan stopped hoping and accepted he was gone. Nathan now works as a bartender, and on the side, behaves like a con man and steals valuable items from well-to-do people through his charisma and sleight of hand and then sells the items. One night at work, a man named Victor Sullivan, or Sully, watches Nathan steal a bracelet from a patron, unbeknownst to her, and put it in his back pocket. As Sully drags Nathan into conversation, he takes the bracelet from Nathan's back pocket and places his card in its place. He propositions Nathan on a big job he has coming up and tells him he is looking for someone like him. Nathan scoffs at Sully and tells him it's closing time and he needs to leave. It's not until after Sully leaves, does Nathan realize Sully has taken off with the bracelet, and he calls him up from the card he left to go and get it. Sully sits in an apartment and tells Nathan a little more about the treasure he is hunting for, and that he knows his brother Sam, and they work together on finding this treasure, but Sam disappeared without ever contacting him again. Nathan leaves with the necklace, saying he is not interested, but later that night, after thinking of his brother and considering that this journey might lead him closer to him, he decides to ring Sully up and tell him he is willing to go along with him. Sully prepares Nathan for the first part of the plan, which is to acquire a golden cross that will be essential to them, since it is legend that this cross acts as a key to open doorways to obscure and hidden areas that will lead them closer to the fortune amassed by Ferdinand Magellan. The Magellan family amassed a fortune of gold and various treasure pieces which was lost by the House of Monaco 500 years ago. Sully's plan is for him and Nathan to attend the auction for the gold cross that Santiago Moncada intends to buy, since he believes the Magellan fortune belongs to his family. Sully explains to Nathan that he will pretend to buy the cross if need be, while Nathan works behind the scenes to cut the power to the auction house and gives Sully the opportunity to steal the cross. Once at the auction, Sully and Nathan try to blend in with all the wealthy families, and start by ordering drinks at the bar. Nathan notices a woman staring at him and he boasts to Sully that she is flirting with him. Sully turns and notices her straight away as Joe Braddock, Sully's rival, who works for Santiago Moncada himself. She looks very disturbed by Sully's presence. Sully tells Nathan to leave, and he will deal with her, while he tries to find the room that houses the power and lighting. Joe and Sully engage in a cold and sarcastic exchange, and Joe lets Sully know she will be watching him, and she knows he is up to something. The auction begins with the sale of a few paintings, which gives Nathan time to find out how to disconnect the power. Next, the auction for the cross begins. Through an earpiece they both have, Sully urges Nathan to hurry up, or he will be forced to buy the cross with money he doesn't have. The bidding is about to end on $700,000 for the cross going to Santiago, when Sully raises his hand in a bid. Sully then involves himself in a bidding war with Santiago until it reaches over $3 million, and Sully is getting anxious and annoyed that Nathan is taking so long. Meanwhile, Nathan is just about to turn the power off when a Scottish security guard stops him, and Nathan tries to distract him by saying he cannot understand a word he is saying, because his accent is so strong. This enrages the security officer, and he lunges for Nathan, and Nathan fights back to stay out of his reach. He manages to run out of the room, and runs along the top floor along the balcony, and now he is being chased by more security. Sully is ordering Nathan to do something, cut the power, or cause a distraction, or anything. Nathan decides to jump from the balcony onto the dangling cylindrical light fixtures hanging from the ceiling to get away from security, and this causes such a commotion that it is exactly the distraction that Sully needs. Everyone jumps up from their seats as they stare at Nathan swinging from the light fixture, and alarms go off. Immediately, security on the ground level tell others they need to secure the cross, and Sully, with his quick thinking, puts on a red coat so he looks like an auction assistant and informs security he will take it out to the back securely. They nod, and Sully exits the auction room and enters the stairs. He is making his way for the exit when a sharp, curved knife is held up to his throat, and Joe snatches the suitcase with the cross in it. Security run into the building from the exit, and Sully yells to them that Joe is trying to steal the cross, and thank God they are here. They raise their weapons and tell her to put down the suitcase. Sully sarcastically tells her to give his suitcase back, which she does. He tells security he will ensure the cross is secured, and he exits the building, just as he turns around to notice Joe is fighting all the security with advanced combat fighting. Sully knows he doesn't have much time before Joe finds him, so he dumps the coat into a dumpster nearby and enters the nearest cab. Once inside, an angry Nathan asks him why he left him there, and Sully tries to deflect by saying that the kid has proven himself again. Nathan tells Sully he can try to get rid of him, but now he is all in, and he demands to see the cross. Sully sarcastically asks if Nathan doesn't trust him, but hands Nathan the cross. Now that the first part of the heist is done, they are ready for the next part, where they must fly to Barcelona, Spain, where they believe the other cross is. The ancient book that Sully has from the Magellan family shows a tree that they must find, that has something to do with where the treasure is hidden. Sully and Nathan arrive in Barcelona and meet someone that Sully is waiting for, but has not revealed who it is to Nathan yet. A young woman of Pakistani descent with dark eyes and hair approaches them. She asks who Nathan is, and he asks who she is. Her name is Chloe, and Sully drops a bombshell on Nathan, that Chloe already has the other cross, and he is hoping they can all work together to find where the fortune of treasure and gold worth over $3 billion is located. Chloe is abrupt and untrusting, just like Sully is. Chloe is not happy about working with them and walks off, when suddenly Sully and Nathan realize she has taken their cross off of them while Nathan's back was turned slightly to her, and she slyly pulled it out of Nathan's backpack. Immediately Chloe starts running across some rooftops, and Nathan runs after her. They both are good at parkour, and Chloe leads Nathan on a zigzagging run through rooftops and a water fountain. He falls into the water fountain in the process but doesn't give up. He runs after her as she runs through a car park to where her car is. She gets in, starts the car up, but Nathan blocks her from leaving. Sully also catches up. Nathan tells her she has no idea where the tree where they left the treasure is and she will need their help. Even though she has both crosses, it is useless to her if she doesn't know where to look. Nathan has an idea about what the tree means, and he tells her they will need to look for a church. She sits silent for a while, and then sighs. Both Sully and Nathan know she has given up. She asks him which church. They head into town and walk around to the entrance of a church. Nathan looks proud, as the tree above the entranceway looks exactly the same as the picture in the book Sully has. Sully looks impressed and they go inside to investigate. At first, they see nothing obvious, but near the front booth and beneath one of the pews, there is an engraving on the ground which shows the 18 adventurers had visited. The engraving is round, but there is an arrow that points towards the back of the church and to a side room. They enter the room and see an altar. At the front of the altar, at the bottom on each side, is a hole that looks like the end of a cross would fit in there. Chloe places the cross into the hole, and Nathan does the same with the other cross. They turn it, and 3 darts shoot out and nearly hit Sully, who is standing behind them. This time, Chloe turns the key the opposite way, and something massive shudders, which feels like it is beneath them. Nathan walks to the left of the altar and realizes there is a slight gap and opening behind it, and starts to push, and the altar turns and opens like a door, revealing a passageway with stairs covered in dust and cobwebs, which looks like it has not been entered for centuries. Sully looks pleased and tries to enter with them, but Chloe stops him and asks Nathan to repeat what the book mentioned. He says it spoke about heaven and hell after it mentioned the tree. Someone must go up, and someone must go down. They decide that Nathan and Chloe will descend to hell, and Sully will follow them above in heaven, or the street level. Nathan and Chloe make their way down the passageway until they come to a gate with a lock. Chloe is good with locks, so she gets to work to unlock it. Nathan asks how she became an adventurer, and she explains that when she was young in India, she found a valuable statue, and she loved the feeling of discovering something so valuable. She showed her father, and he kept it for himself. He kept the money he got from selling it and disappeared. She never saw him again. Nathan is sympathetic to Chloe. Seeing that Chloe isn't making any progress, he kicks the gate in with his boot with full force and it flies open easily. As they head further down, through an earpiece, Nathan asks Sully if he sees anything strange above, but he doesn't. Unbeknownst to Sully, Joe is hot on his tail. Nathan and Chloe start to hear bass and music, as if there is a nightclub nearby. They are shocked to discover it is genuinely a nightclub, as they see the lights shining through a round grate. They squat down and Nathan kicks it open. Above the bar of the nightclub there is the Latin word for hell, so they know they are in the right place. They go up to the bar and notice behind the bartenders that there is another hole for the cross to turn in. Nathan and Chloe quickly think of a distraction, and they pour alcohol on the bar and then light it with a lighter. Nathan jumps behind the bar and pretends to serve people, while Chloe is behind the bar trying to insert the cross into the keyhole. Nathan comes face to face with the Scottish security guard again and fights with him. Chloe turns the cross in the keyhole, and a small compartment opens on the back wall. She calls Nathan and climbs through. He crawls in behind her before the door closes, leaving the Scottish guard banging on the door. Nathan and Chloe look for a way out and see another keyhole above them, in a round chamber door. Meanwhile, above them, Sully is matching their location based on his phone's GPS and his connection to Nathan's phone. Nathan and Chloe put the cross in the keyhole and turn it, and immediately realize something ominous is happening. All water from the water fountain in the foyer of the hotel above them empties out, and the water filters down and starts filling the chamber they are in. They are alarmed and try to think of what to do. Nathan remembers a passage from the book which says that they must trust their fellow man, one in heaven, one in hell, and they yell at Sully to hurry and look for a keyhole at his level, because if he doesn't, they will drown. Sully enters a pizza joint and sees that in a display case behind glass is the keyhole for his cross. He grabs a dining chair and tries to break the glass, but it doesn't budge. He turns to see Joe near him aiming a gun at him, demanding the cross. He distracts her and manages to snatch the gun, and then they get into a physical fight as people around them run from the room in fear. Meanwhile, the chamber below is filling with water fast, and Nathan panics and urges Sully to hurry up, as they will drown. Together, Chloe and Nathan take one final breath in and hold it, hoping that Sully will save them in time. Sully and Joe are still fighting, but he manages to pick her up and throw her at the glass, breaking it, and she falls to the ground. He places the cross in the hole and turns it, and Nathan opens the circular door, pulling himself up out of the water, gasping for breath. A few seconds go by and he realizes Chloe hasn't come up, so he dives down and brings her to the surface. He can't lift her up, so he shakes her, hoping the sensation of the air will trigger her breathing and coughing, which it does. She splutters water out of her mouth and lungs. As they pull themselves out of the chamber and sit, catching their breath, Chloe thanks him for saving her. Meanwhile, Sully asks if they are okay. They reply they are still alive. They take a few minutes then get up to continue. They follow some stairs down and Sully follows from above. Nathan explains to Sully they are in a Roman antechamber, and they move on out of Sully's sight further down. They enter a room and see 4 giant earthenware pots in the center of the huge chamber. They approach and Nathan offers to give Chloe a lift up so she can see inside one of the pots. As she does, cracks start to appear in the pot and all 4 of them collapse in pieces. They are full of salt, but there is no gold. In the middle of one pile of salt, there is a cylinder-shaped bag, and Nathan opens it to reveal a map, which shows the route the 18 took to find the treasure. He is excited, but when he lifts his head up, Chloe demands he hands it over. She has a gun aimed at him. She says she trusts no one, and that he doesn't even know the truth about Sully and his brother Sam. Before he can find out more, she knocks him unconscious with her gun and takes off. Some time later, Sully tells Nathan to wake up, and Nathan confronts him about his brother. Sully tries to evade the answer, but Nathan tells him he needs to know the truth. Sully confesses that Sam got shot by Joe on their last attempt at finding the treasure, and he left him there, as he didn't want to get shot. Nathan is hurt and angry that Sully lied to him, and was only using him, as he had hoped Sam had told him clues about the treasure and he would be useful to Sully. Meanwhile, Chloe goes to Santiago, and he reveals in front of Joe that he had hired Chloe from the beginning, and since she had so much success, she will lead the rest of the hunt. Chloe was always going to betray Nathan. Back at the hotel, Nathan tells Sully he will continue the hunt for his brother's sake, but as soon as it's over he wants nothing to do with Sully. Sully accepts and agrees. Sully deduces that Chloe must be working for Moncada. They decide to go to the next place on the map that was drawn out, to an island in the Philippines. They go to the airport and manage to sneak on the plane that Moncada, Joe, and Chloe are taking. While Moncada is talking, Joe surprises everyone and slits Moncada's throat, angry at him that he chose Chloe to lead. As Joe and Chloe and their men are in the cargo area of the plane, Nathan and Sully attack, and Chloe joins in to fight Joe. Sully stays back on the plane in a commotion, but Nathan falls out of the plane in a car with Chloe, and they climb onto a cargo box and attach a parachute, managing to land it into the ocean. They bob on the ocean for a while, until they find land and head towards a hotel. They stay there overnight, and even though Nathan doesn't trust her, he tells her he believes all the postcards he received from his brother hold a secret message for him that will help them find the exact location of the treasure. He spreads them out on a table, trying to think, and Chloe helps for a while until she falls asleep in the bed. Nathan remembers how his brother used to leave invisible messages for him that would show up when a lighter was held to paper. He uses his lighter which his brother left him, and it reveals to him to use the 2 crosses to point to coordinates. As a trick, he leaves Chloe with wrong coordinates and goes to bed, to see if she will take off and leave without him. She does. He laughs to himself and heads out to the coordinates. Sully catches up with him and they head to a small area of the island, not far from where Joe is searching. They enter a little hidden oasis, like a cave system, and notice 2 very old pirate ships, Magellan's ships, and they enter one of them. Sure enough, in the barrels, they find Magellan's treasure. It doesn't take long before they hear Joe and her men approach, so they hide in a compartment hidden in the floor of one of the ships. The men search, but tell Joe that Sully and Nathan must have taken whatever they could carry and left. Joe then orders a helicopter to come, and her men wrap hoists around the old ships and they lift them straight out of the hole above the cave area they are in. Sully and Nathan realize they are being lifted into the air and wait until the perfect moment to come out on deck and fight Joe's men. They start to fight and knock her men off the boats, and Sully climbs up the chains and clambers into the pilot's seat, after fighting them and throwing them to the ground below. He knows how to fly, as he had flown in the military. Meanwhile, Nathan is still fighting Joe's men, and then has to fight Joe herself. He gets away and climbs up to get to Sully. Sully has his bag full of treasure next to him, but it starts to slip and he has to decide whether to lift Nathan up and save him, or reach for the bag. Instead, he decides to use the bag of gold, launching it at Joe, causing her to lose her balance and fall into the ocean. Nathan is grateful Sully saved his life and he sits next to him in the helicopter. Sully is a little sulky they couldn't get any treasure and all the boats are nearly shredded to pieces from the encounter, but Nathan surprises him by giving him some small treasures that he can sell. He is overjoyed and they look behind them at the ocean below, and notice Chloe is following them on a speedboat. They laugh, knowing they have won, and still manage to get some treasure along the way.